Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. It's a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. So the most important news and editorial of the day that is relevant for the preparation of civil services examination will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with the news topic list. Today is 7th of December. The first important news, World Bank raised India's growth projection. Second, 17th Asia and the Pacific Regional Meeting. Third, India Central Asia Meeting of National Security Advisor. Fourth, Indo-Greek Conference to be held at Jawaharlal Nehru University. And the last is an editorial scenario of the future of India and the world. Apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further delay, let's get started. And before I begin this session, those of you who are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful for your examination purpose, do press a like button. Starting the session with the first news, that is World Bank raised India's growth projection. Something important for General Studies Paper 3 under the subtopic, that is Indian economy and issues related to planning, mobilization, resource growth and development. Recently, the World Bank has raised its gross domestic product जो projections हैं उसको लेकर के बढ़ाई गई है. For India in the current fiscal year, this is 6.9%. Earlier, this was 6.5%. So the World Bank has categorically noted the growth that has witnessed in the Indian economy and overall contribution in the GDP will be on the higher side. The change projection was done because of the economic relative resilience to external headwind and even a strong outturn in the September quarter. तो सितंबर की परफॉर्मेंस की अगर बात करें, इवन कंसेक्यूटिवली जो परफॉर्मेंस रही है वो थोड़ी बेटर और पॉजिटिव के साइड में. वर्ल्ड बैंक फिगर इज क्लोज टू द रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया प्रोजेक्शन फॉर द financial year 2023 for the GDP projection, which RBI has categorically projected for 7%. Now it's close to 6.9, more or less the 7%. Now, India economic recovery की अगर बात करें, Indian economy has been remarkably resilient in deteriorating external environment and strong macroeconomic fundamentals that have placed a good stead compared to the other emerging market. Comparatively, हम और भी emerging market को compare करें, even be China, Japan, many other countries, comparatively India ने काफी हद तक good recovery की है, and even the anticipation by the other international agencies which was made, उससे कई बेहतर performance हुई. The reasons for India insulations over the global spoil has a large domestic market in fluctuations and even which relatively has less exposed to the international trade flows. Even the recent Russia's and Ukraine war has impacted India and even US Fed की जो rate की changes की गई है उसके consequences देखे, but even basically the process of the economy that actually functioned was not that impacted. The World Bank said that India's external position has imposed considerable over the past decades, and besides the policy reform, the prudent regulatory measures has also played a role in helping development of this resilience. So, apart from the industry's contribution, अगर government की regulations की बात करें, central government has played an important role in the fiscal policies. And when it comes to RBI, which is a regulatory body which is looking overall economy, which take care of the monetary policy, तो ये दोनों ने मिलके काम किया. The coordination has helped to reach this progress. Now, reform in India. With regards to reform in India, the World Bank report has said that it has increased the resilience on market borrowing and has improved the transparency and credibility of fiscal policy, and government has diversified the investor base for the securities. The introductions of a formal inflation targeting framework in the past decade was an important step in this direction. And the World Bank has saw the government meeting. The fiscal target is 6.4% for the financial year 2023. On the back of the strong growth in the revenues collections, we have seen that the GDP, जो सेस अगर बात करें GST के सेस के, just to correct, GST cess collection was again on the higher side. So this was also a positive sentiments in the economy. and back strong growth in the revenue collections, spite in the pressures from the food and fertilizer subsidy front. Now, if you look into the inflation part, the World Bank has projected in its report and noted that both levers of the macroeconomic policy, which include the fiscal and monetary policy, for an economy to function in a right manner, in a balanced approach, two policies need to be there in place. The first is the fiscal policy, which will be supplemented by the monetary policy. So these two are the policy which has to be in a coordination, it has to be in a proper coordination, right? So it played an important role in managing the challenges of the emerging problem that has emerged post-COVID and during the economic recovery. The report also noted that the RBL withdrawal from the accommodative monetary policies measures approach is parent and need to have a green inflation where continued support were there for the economic growth. So many decisions taken by the RBI was a long-term measures which call for a productive outcome in the economy, and this is evident from the fact that finally the World Bank has come up in its report. Now, looking into the projections, the growth forecast for the financial year 2023 for the GDP, some of the important institution has made their projection. What was the earlier projection and what is the current projection? We'll look into that. RBI की projection की अगर बात करें, earlier RBI has noted for 7.2, now they have revised it to 7.0. Now the ADB, which has earlier projected for 7.2, has again revised it to 7. Fitch की जो rating है उन्होंने 7% की बात की थी, they have remained with 7. India rating, which was 7.0, now they have projected for 6.9. वर्ल्ड बैंक की अगर बात करें, वर्ल्ड बैंक ने 6.5 प्रोजेक्ट की थी, इन्होंने इसको रिवाइज करके 6.9 किया है. State Bank of India 7.5, it's now revised it to 6.8. IMF 7.4 earlier, it has now revised it to 6.8, and OECD ने 6.9 किया, जिसने रिवाइज करके 6.6 किया है. These are some of the important data if you're writing in mains. आप किसी एक या दो institutions को quote कर सकते हैं. Moving to the other news, 17th Asia and the Pacific Regional Meeting, something important for General Studies Paper 2, that is important international institution, agencies, their structure and mandate. During the 17th Asia and the Pacific Meeting, जिसको APRM भी कहते हैं, is one of the international meeting of the International Labour Organization, where International Worker Group has criticized the government of India's Labour Code. जो 4 यूनिफाइड लेबर कोड बनाए गए हैं उसको लेकर के कंसर्न रेज की गई है, राइट. द इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड यूनियन कॉन्फ्रेंस और से कॉन्फेडरेशन सेड दैट इंडियाज न्यू लेबर कोड वायलेट्स द ट्रिपार्टी एग्रीमेंट अमंग द वर्कर्स, एम्प्लॉयर एंड द गवर्नमेंट. सो दीज आर द एग्रीमेंट between the government, between the worker and the employee, right? And even give free hand to the employers and not much benefit to the employee. Now the concern, the power of inspection has been left within the employers through the new code, within which it will threaten the tripartite system in the country. This is the concern that has been raised during this meeting. Now the new social contract, the International Trade Union Confederation has said that the workers are asking for a new social contract. The contract which government and the employee, particularly at the national level, took place. And this contract is based on some of the important criteria. That is the availability of decent job for all, respect of a right for all. Third is the fair wage, including the minimum wage. Adequate and easily available social protection, that is to ensure covering everyone under the social protection scheme. Respect for equality and inclusiveness, and no reform for any discrimination. Now talking about India's 4 code, आपके साथ मैंने पहले भी डिस्कस किया. I'm not giving the detail about that. If you want, you can read it out. And these code would be again something that you need to know the premise. You don't need to get into the detailed part of that. Most of the laws has been amalgamated into the 4 labor code by the government of India. Now, India's workforce की अगर बात करें, India has the largest youth population in the world, and it's observing the technological and entrepreneurial boom. This is what the India has noted in this meeting and said that the small business are mushrooming across the country. तो इंडिया ने अपने रिप्रेजेंटेशन में ये जो करंट डेटा है, करंट सिनारियो है डेवलपमेंट की, उसके बारे में बात रखी है. And around 90% of the workforce belong to the unorganized sector, and there were persistent challenges of low paid jobs and the poor working conditions. Moving to the other news, that is India Central Asia meeting for National Security Advisor. Something important for General Studies paper 2, that is bilateral regional grouping and agreement involving India and affecting India's interest. So in an address to inaugural lecture of India's Central Asia meeting at the National Security Advisor, India के जो National Security Advisor है Mr. Ajit Doval, he has strongly pitched for giving a greater priorities by the country to the region where counter-terror financing is high, saying that the monetary resources are the lifeblood of terrorism. So definitely curbing the terror financing is an important point here. Not only India, many other developed countries has advocated that there should be complete curb to that terror financing. Now, he also noted that the all United Nations members should refrain from providing any kind of support to the entities or person involved in the terrorist act, with full obligation enshrined in the relevant counter-terror convention. And he described the Central Asia as an extended neighborhood and said that India has the highest priority for the region. Even you can expect a mains question on this regard, because a question or General Studies paper 3 can be directly framed in this topic. And who were the participant country? The National Security Advisor or the NSA. The NSA from Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan attended the conflict, while Turkmenistan is being represented by its ambassador to India. Now, key priority for India. Definitely, India's National Security Advisor said that the connection with the Central Asian countries remained the key priority area for India, and India stand ready to cooperate, invest, and build connectivity in the region. Basically, India was more concerned in the infrastructure development in the Central Asian region. While expanding the connectivity, it is important to ensure that connectivity initiatives are consultative, transparent, and participatory with respect to sovereignty, territorial integrity of all the country. Now, moving to the other news, Indo-Greek conference to be held at JNU, something important for General Studies paper 1, that is Indian culture, that will cover the salient feature, art form, literature, architecture from ancient time to modern times. Now, with an aim to explore the history of Indo-Hellenic contrast, the Greek is organizing an international conference in Delhi, that is in Jawaharlal Nehru University, JNU mein honi hai program, right, on the Greek world of India, that is history, culture, trade from Hellenistic period to the modern times. The 5-day conference will kick off from December 12 this month and will continue for 5 days. And this is the venue is Jawaharlal Nehru University in Delhi. Now, more about the event. Around 40 leading scholars from 2 countries will participate in the event. According to the organizers, the exploration of the past could have a new way of promoting and enhancing the relationship between the 2 nations in future. The conference is being co-organized by the Greek chair, that is at JNU, Hellenic Institute of Brixton and Post-Migrant Studies in the VNS, and the Aristotle University has the auspicious embassy of the Greece in India. They are coordinating in organizing this 5-day function, which will call for a cultural exchange and a lot more expressions between India and Greek diversity. Now, the aim of the conference aims to forefront the latest research in the creations, communications, influences between the Greek world and India from the period when they will have their peak in the Hellenistic period until the modern times. The conference will focus particularly on the subject such as history, contract, art and archaeology, science, philosophy, commerce, economy, and the Hellenistic period, that is from the Greek king of India to the Greek Indian cultures or literature, and even Indian in the Greek literature. So these are evolving part, and diversity in terms of Indian diversity, we know the diversity of India is wide, and understanding with the perspective with the Greek literature and the influence will be again a point that India will ponder upon, and these type of questions must be relevant for your prelims examination as well. Moving to the editorial of the day, scenario for the future of India and the world, something important for General Studies paper 3. that is Indian economy and issues related to planning, mobilization, resource growth, and development. So, what is the issues under this editorial? Before we come into issues, let look into the theme of this article. The theme of this article is economic recovery, that is for India and the world. A tale of forecasting. वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमिक फोरम और सीआई की क्या रिपोर्ट है उसे देखेंगे. राइज ऑफ रिएक्शनरी फोर्सेस एंड द कंक्लूजन पार्ट. सो इस एडिटोरियल में बात की गई है इकोनॉमिक प्रिडिक्शंस को लेकर के. पोस्ट रिकवरी, प्री रिकवरी, व्हाट वाज द इकोनॉमिक फोरकास्ट दैट वाज मेड बाय सम इंटरनेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशंस. सो मेकिंग प्रिडिक्शन ऑफ द इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ of the nation in the long term, annual and quarterly is a lucrative industries that is employing many economists, researchers, analysts and commentators to give a forecast about the progress that is made. The fast growing of the BRICS, that is Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa economies, was forecasted by the economy at turn with the millennium. Now the prediction at the large has impacted the public imaginations on the corporate investments. टेल ऑफ फोरकास्टिंग की बात की, किस तरह से फोरकास्टिंग कई बार सही नहीं साबित हुई है, कई बार उसकी जो फोरकास्टिंग इट्स नॉट ऑन द रियलिस्टिक पैरामीटर्स. सो स्मॉल इंडस्ट्रीज, सम इंडस्ट्री लीडर्स, द वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमिक फोरम वाज वरीड. दे रिकॉल द इकोनॉमी दैट in 1918 extrapolations and remarkable post-war performance for Japan and has predicted that 21st century में जापान एक बहुत लैंडमार्क हिस्ट्री इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ में हासिल कर सकती है. बट द फ्यू इकोनॉमिस्ट देन प्रेडिक्टेड दैट collapse of the Soviet Union and from the China remarkable ascent. But in the next decade, Japan growth was limping and the Soviet Union was again in the history and China was something country which has not even directed to have a lot of investment. So economic powerhouse of the BRICS projection now is for India, Brazil, Russia, South Africa. And let's see how these countries are working together, because the projection might not be successful. We have to see how the roadmap is being decided by the member countries. Now, World Economic Forum or CI की कुछ report है. The report title is India and the World Scenario to 2025, which was published way back in 2005. Projected 3 scenarios for the India's future depending upon the country's economic policies. And India was India's shining mood at that time, and it celebrated the world with the fastest growing free market economy. We have seen liberalization in 1991, liberalization, globalization hui India mein, and that has even paid a lot, right? It was having a positive impact in the Indian economy, and this tempted the Western investors to come to the autocratic China and faster growing economy. Now, the first scenario looked deeper into the India's current reality. The opening of Indian economy has created more opportunities for the private enterprises, more FDI, right? FDI and FFI were there in India, and the rapid increase in the wealth was there from the top 1% millennia were multiplying as well. While entrepreneurial spirit were unleashed and the young people aspired to become wealthy, signs of increasing frustration were also visible. Second scenario में basically the term that the writer has used is अटका भारत or stagnant Bharat, right? The precise would be the stagnant Bharat. So it shows that how increasing inequality and insecurity could compel the government to impose control over the politics and also compel the players' role in economy without the adequate resources. And heavy-handed government would dampen India democracy and stall its economy. Now the rise of reactionary forces, किस तरह से जो reactionary forces हैं उनकी basically birth हुई, and what was the projection that was made? The scenario made 2006 before the global financial crisis to recover the government, and G7 took actions to save two large fair financial inclusions, and this was the time where Western country was mostly during the time where the global recession and global financial crisis were witnessed. The G7 and G20 has stabilized the global financial economic situation, increasing the inequality and insecurity around the world, rising with the free market globalization that has resulted to reactionary forces in many countries, including China, Russia, and among the BRIC nations. If you conclude this editorial, we can conclude on a part that the other choices revolve around the local system solutions for environmental and economical problem, cooperatively implementing by the communities, and the model to solve it should be the global system problem. It creates one more harmonious world. So we need to have a coordinations. The grouping countries need to see something in a coordinated manner, which is achieving the progress for all. And India must promote this model at G20. India is hosting the presidency of G20 from December 2022 to November 2023. Right? I think most of you must be aware of this fact. Now, India must also adopt for a Gandhian approach for all its citizens. So इंडिया की प्रेसिडेंसी पे डायरेक्ट आपसे मेंस पे सवाल पूछे जा सकते हैं, and even it is important for prelims examination. An analytical question can be asked that what should be India roadmap and how India can redefine the presidency of G20. Now moving ahead with the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday questions. For first question, the correct option is B. For second question also, the correct option is B. Today's MCQ for practice. First, Making Peace with Nature is recently published by United Nations Environment Programme, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, Food and Agriculture Organization, World Wildlife Fund for Nature. The second is Vertical Launch Short Range Surface to Air Missile is an indigenously designed and system developed by DRDO. It is capable of neutralizing various aerial threats at close range, including the sea skimming targets. So do check it out for the correct option. This type of question might be relevant for UPSC, CSC, and many other competitive examinations, right? So do practice questions. Practice will help you to get an edge over the upcoming prelims examination as well. This was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis, followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern, you can let me know. I'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.